Welcome to the Cup of Joe Wrestling Show.
Cup of Joe Wrestling Show?
With Joey Harris. A podcast for the wrestling fan on the go. So take your favorite beverage of choice and join Joey as he takes a look at some of the biggest shows on the WWE Network.
Welcome to the Cup of Joe Wrestling Show. I am your host, Joey Harris, and we are broadcasting from makeshift studios in the shadow of South Central Virginia. You can follow the show on Twitter at Cup of Joe Pod. You can email the show at cupofjoewrestlingshow@gmail.com. To support the show, you can go to paypal.me/cupofjoepod. I am on Cash App and Venmo at The Joey Harris. And folks, today, right off at the start, I want to send out my condolences to the friends, fans, and family of Sika the Wild Samoan, who passed away yesterday as I record this, and just our thoughts and prayers go out to his loved ones. And today, we look at Survivor Series 1993. I had a unique relationship with this show because I rented it shortly after it became available on video. And the VCR ate the tape. And I figured, well, that's it for me. I've heard about how much these tapes cost commercially, and I don't have that kind of money, teenage angst and drama, but it's okay. They were able to repair it, and everything went on smoothly from there. Survivor Series 1993 was shown on pay-per-view on November the 24th, 1993 from the Boston Garden in Boston, Massachusetts. There were 15,409 in attendance, and the show did 180,000 pay-per-view buys. Billy Gunn defeated the Brooklyn Brawler in a dark match. A tape spot from Lex Luger and his family wishing us a happy Thanksgiving. We then cut to a man in the ring singing the national anthem. We get our Survivor Series intro. Vince McMahon and Bobby Heenan welcome us to the Survivor Series. This is Bobby's last pay-per-view during his original run, and he is going to come out a house of fire on this night. IRS, Diesel, Rick Martel, and Adam Bomb with Harvey Whippleman versus Razor Ramon, the 1-2-3 Kid, Marty Jannetty, and Randy Savage. Ramon tells the crowd that Mr. Perfect isn't there and that Randy Savage is his replacement before Savage comes out. Martel and Ramon start. Martel with a wrist lock. Ramon reverses into a hammerlock. Back and forth. Ramon slaps Martel. Martel is beating Ramon down in the corner. Ramon responds with a fall-away slam. He follows it up with an inverted atomic drop and a couple of clotheslines. Bomb tagged in. Bomb tells Ramon to bring it and pushes Ramon away. He pushes Ramon down a second time. Bomb with a side headlock and a shoulder block. A razor chant goes out. Test of strength. Ramon coming back. Bomb with a boot to the midsection. Ramon with a suplex for a 2 count. Martel is in to break up the hold, but accidentally hits Bomb. Whippleman comes in and pushes Martel, who responds by punching Whippleman. Bomb then attacks Martel. IRS and Diesel in to break it up. Kid in. Kid with a side headlock. Bomb slams Kid down. Diesel tagged in. He throws Kid across the ring as 3 Clique members are in this match. Diesel with a forearm to the kidney. He follows up with a big boot. Kid comes back with the head scissors and Savage tagged in. He cleans house by hitting Diesel with a double axe handle and taking out the rest of the team. Savage scoop slams Diesel and hits the elbow drop to pin Diesel. Martel jumps Savage immediately. Savage runs Martel into a turnbuckle. IRS tagged in. He runs Savage into a turnbuckle. Ramon tagged in. He gets IRS down. He gets the side headlock. Martel tagged in and hits a double axe handle to Ramon. Heenan asks McMahon if he has ever cheated anybody, and McMahon says of course not, throwing shade to all the other territory promoters here as well as the federal government, as McMahon has just been indicted. Martel keeps up the attack, and Bomb tagged in. Bomb with a back elbow. He beats Ramon down and Martel tagged back in. Then IRS drops an elbow. He gets a 2 count. Hill's double teaming to perfection as Martel back in without tagging. They collide in the ring and both men down. IRS tagged in. They trade blows. Savage tagged in. He hits a high knee to the back. Savage with a scoop slam and Crush is shown coming out to antagonize Savage. Savage comes out after Crush and his team stops him. Savage gets distracted by Crush and IRS rolls him up for the pin. Savage takes off after Crush. Jannetty in and gets a side headlock on IRS. IRS pushes off and Jannetty comes back with a hip toss. He drop kicks IRS and gets a 2 count. Martel tagged in. He attacks Jannetty. Bomb tagged in. He hits a belly-to-back suplex. He kicks Jannetty down in the corner. Martel tagged in and gets an abdominal stretch. He misses a corner charge when Jannetty moves and Ramon tagged in. IRS also tagged in. He hits a couple of corner clotheslines and a choke slam. He hits the razor's edge to pin IRS. Martel attacks Ramon immediately. All 5 remaining men in the ring. Ramon gets Martel up for the razor's edge while the referee is getting the other men out, and IRS comes in and hits Ramon with his briefcase. Ramon falls out of the ring and gets counted out. The crowd chants 1, 2, 3 as the Kid gets in against Martel. They crisscross. Kid with a side headlock. Martel pushes off. Kid comes back with an arm drag. Into a wrist lock on Martel. Martel with a back elbow and bomb tagged in. He misses a shot and Kid takes him down with a go behind. Kid with a drop kick. Bomb rolls outside and catches the Kid when he goes for a suicide dive. Bomb slams Kid down and then throws Kid in and hits a slingshot clothesline. Bomb with a corner clothesline. Kid with a series of moves. Martel tagged in. He gets a 2 count. Kid with a shot to Martel and Jannetty tagged in. He gets Martel down. He hits a knee lift and runs Martel into a ring post. Jannetty with a snapmare for a 2 count. And Kid tagged back in. Double back elbow. Kid with a sunset flip to pin Martel. Jannetty tagged in and hits a sunset flip to pin Bomb. Survivors, Marty Jannetty and the 1, 2, 3 Kid. The heels are mad as the crowd celebrates. Todd Pettengill interviews the recently reinstated Shawn Michaels, who says he is the true Intercontinental Champion. He is replacing the temporarily unavailable Jerry Lawler due to Lawler's legal issues. And so Michaels will captain the team against the Hart family. Pettengill brings up the bad feelings from last year's Survivor Series and shows Michaels an interview Ray Combs did with the Hart family earlier. Combs talks to Bret and his family about Shawn Michaels and the Knights. They're ready for battle. Michaels badmouths the Harts and says he has something to settle with Bret. Ray Combs then introduces members of the Hart family at ringside. Combs then does some jokes about Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels and the Red, Black, and Blue Knights versus Bret, Owen, Bruce, and Keith Hart with Stu Hart. The Blue Knight is Greg Valentine, the Black Knight is Jeff Gaylord, and the Red Knight is Barry Horowitz. Michaels comes over and yells at the Hart family at ringside. Combs tells him to get in the ring. The Harts are introduced. Bobby Heenan is hilarious here. Ray Combs joins commentary. Owen starts against Michaels. Michaels wants Bruce, who tags in. Michaels with a side headlock. Red Knight tagged in. Bruce knocks Michaels into the Red Knight. Michaels back in. Bruce cleaning house. Bruce with an armbar. And Keith tagged in. Keith picks the armbar up into a hammerlock. Back and forth. Keith gets a small package for a 2 count. Back to the armbar. Michaels with a scoop slam. Red Knight tagged in. Owen tagged in. Back and forth. Owen with a hip toss. Black Knight tagged in. He gets tossed around by the Hart family, and the Blue Knight and Bret both tagged in. Blue Knight with a series of forearms. Bret with a clothesline for a 2 count. Hart family with quick tags. Blue Knight scoop slams Bruce and Michaels tagged in. Michaels with a backbreaker. Red Knight in with a double axe handle. He gets a 2 count. Back and forth. Black Knight tagged in. Bruce with a backslide for a 2 count. Michaels tagged in. He kicks Bruce to the outside. Bruce reverses and runs Michaels into a turnbuckle. Red Knight knocks Bruce down. Bruce with a clothesline. Black Knight and Bret both tagged in. Bret with a roll up for a 2 count. He hits a backbreaker and an elbow drop for a 2 count. All 8 men are in now. Hart family run Michaels and the Knights together. Owen with a missile drop kick to pin the Black Knight. Owen takes the Red Knight down. Bret tagged in. He gets the Red Knight in and Keith tagged in. Keith beating the Red Knight in the corner. Keith is working on the leg of the Knight. Bruce tagged in. He continues to beat on the leg and then tags Bret in. He hits the Red Knight and Keith tagged back in. Hart family doing a lot of quick tags. Red Knight kicks Keith away. Red Knight coming back. Back and forth. Michaels saves the Red Knight, who was in the figure 4. Blue Knight tagged in. They trade blows. Heels triple teaming Keith. The Blue Knight with an armbar and Michaels tagged in. He hits a double axe handle. Michaels runs Keith into the corner. Red Knight tagged in and kept up the attack on Keith. The rest of the Harts trying to help Keith. Red Knight catapults Keith into the bottom rope. Blue Knight tagged in and works over Keith's injured shoulder. Michaels tagged in. He misses a top rope move when Keith moves and Bret tagged in. Michaels quickly tags the Red Knight in. Bret gets the sharpshooter on and the Red Knight gives up. The Blue Knight immediately comes in and attacks Bret. Blue Knight throws Bret out. Keith comes over and checks on Bret. Michaels attacks Bret on the outside. The Blue Knight gets Bret back in and hits a suplex. He drops an elbow and gets a 2 count. Bret runs into Michaels' boot. Michaels tagged in. He beats Bret down and then hits a nice back elbow. Michaels gets a 2 count. Michaels with a chin lock. Bret comes back. They trade moves. Blue Knight tagged in. He gets a 2 count. Blue Knight chops Bret in the corner. Bret comes back with a clothesline. Owen tagged in. Owen with a standing drop kick. He hits the Blue Knight with corner-mounted punches. Owen with an elbow drop. Michaels breaks up the count. Owens throws Michael out where he tries to menace Stu. Stu punches Michaels, and Owen hits him with a plancha. Michaels and the Blue Knight run into each other. Owen covers the Blue Knight. Michaels goes to break up the pin and gets clotheslined out by Owen and Bruce. Owen with a bulldog. Owen with a sharpshooter, and the Blue Knight gives up. Bret throws Michaels back into the ring. Michaels bumping for all of the hearts. Bruce in and gets a 2 count. Michaels comes back with a back elbow. Michaels chokes Bruce for a 4 count. Michaels with a super kick for a 2 count. Bruce with a knee lift and Bret tagged in. Bret slingshots Michaels into the corner and gets a 2 count. Michaels with an eye poke. Owen tagged in. Owen with a power slam for a 2 count. Michaels reverses an Irish whip, and Owen slams into Bret on the apron. Michaels rolls Owen up to pin Owen. Owen screams at Bret while Bruce checks on Bret. Keith is also checking on Bret. Stu comes over to check on Bret while Owen leaves, saying, "What about me?" Bruce in against Michaels. Bruce with a clothesline for a 2 count. Bruce with a sleeper. Michaels runs Bruce into a corner to break the hold. They collide and both men down. Keith tagged in and gets an abdominal stretch. Michaels hip locks out and tags Bret in. Michaels corner whipped. Bret attacking Michaels. Michaels crotched on the top rope. Bret goes for the sharpshooter and Michaels rolls out. Michaels takes off and gets counted out. Survivors Bret, Keith, and Bruce Hart. They celebrate in the ring. Owen comes back out. He pushes Bret and yells at him. Bruce and Keith out to try to calm Owen down. Stu calms Bret down as the crowd boos Owen. Owen says Bret is in the way. Todd Pettengill tries to interview Owen, but he doesn't want to talk. Vince and Bobby trade with Gorilla Monsoon and Jim Ross for the next match. Monsoon threatens Heenan as they switch. WrestleMania 10 commercial. Flashback to what led to the All-Americans versus the Foreign Fanatics. Smoky Mountain Wrestling Tag Team Championship match. The Rock and Roll Express, Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson versus the Heavenly Bodies, Tom Pritchard and Jimmy Del Rey with Jim Cornette. Cornette out first to introduce the Bodies, and Jim Ross makes a Jim Barnett joke. You'll know it if you know. The Rock and Roll theme music is dubbed over for some reason. Heavenly Bodies attack the Rock and Roll as soon as the Rock and Roll get in the ring. They throw the Rock and Roll out of the ring. They slingshot Gibson back in, and Morton reverses and slingshots the Bodies out. Morton then hits a suicide dive onto the Bodies. Inside the ring, Gibson and Del Rey lock up. Gibson with a side headlock. Del Rey pushes off and Gibson comes back with a shoulder block. All Gibson to begin with. Morton tagged in the Rock and Roll with a double back elbow. Pritchard tagged in and beats Morton down in the corner. Back and forth. Morton cleaning house on both Heavenly Bodies. All 4 men in now. Heavenly Bodies get monkey flipped out of the corner. The Rock and Roll do the rowboat on the Heavenly Bodies. Gibson tagged in and goes to work on Pritchard's leg. Morton tagged in. He continues to assault the leg. It's been all Rock and Roll thus far. Rock and Roll quick tagging. Del Rey tagged in. Morton with the wrist lock. They trade shots. All 4 in again. And the Rock and Roll get the better of the exchange. Pritchard in against Morton. He hits a sit-out powerbomb. Del Rey tagged in. Pritchard slams him on Morton for a 2 count. Del Rey with a hard shot. Morton thrown outside and Cornette holds him for Del Rey to hit a moonsault. Morton thrown back in and Pritchard gets a 2 count. Pritchard unloading on Morton. Pritchard with the power slam for a 2 count. Del Rey tagged in and hits a snap suplex. Heavenly Bodies hit sort of a reverse bulldog on Morton for a 2 count. Pritchard with a suplex. Del Rey in and hits a trash compactor from the top rope. It gets the 2 count. Morton with a Frankensteiner for a 2 count. Pritchard tagged in and Morton with an inside cradle for a 2 count. Del Rey tagged in and hits a moonsault. Gibson makes the save. Morton with a double DDT. Gibson tagged in. Referee trying to get the extra men out. Morton thrown out of the ring. Gibson thinks it's a disqualification. Morton hits a crossbody, but Pritchard makes the save. Double drop kick to Pritchard. Gibson gets a 2 count as Cornette gets up on the apron and Morton punches him off. Referee Joey Morella tries to get Morton out as Del Rey hits Gibson with the racket. Pritchard makes the cover, and the Heavenly Bodies are the new Smoky Mountain Wrestling Tag Team Champions. Flashback to Doink playing mind games with Bam Bam Bigelow on Superstars. Todd Pettengill interviews Bigelow's team. Bigelow says he has the most awesome team as the rest of the team eats a turkey. Bam Bam Bigelow, Bastion Booger, Samu, and Fatu with Alpha and Luna Vachon versus the Doinks. Bushwhacker Doinks and Men on a Mission Doinks with Oscar. Oscar pumps the crowd up. You know, I saw Oscar when I went to the Something to Wrestle show in Boston in 2017. He was a nice guy. A We Want Doink chant goes out. Booger in against Luke. Booger with the early advantage. Luke bites Booger. Samu tagged in. He attacks Luke. The faces set him up by presenting balloons that he bites, and one is filled with water. Luke rolls Samu up to get the pin. Fatu in. He hits a suplex. Butch tagged in. Booger tagged in and attacks Butch. He beats Butch down. Bigelow tagged in. He continues the assault. He chokes Butch on the top rope. He guillotines Butch. Booger tagged in and hits the sit-down splash but doesn't cover. Booger goes over to the corner to grab a banana that they brought and starts eating it. Booger goes for the splash again, but Mabel pulls Butch away. Mabel is the legal man and gets the pin after a Bushwhacker battering ram and a Mabel leg drop. Faces get a whoop there it is chant going. That's 1993. Fatu hits Luke with the turkey carcass to gain the advantage. Mo rides the scooter inside the ring. Referee Tim White has lost control of this one. Bigelow comes in, hits Mo, and throws the scooter out. Fatu with a slam to Mo. Fatu hits a top rope splash, but again doesn't cover. Butch tagged in and threatens Fatu with a bucket. Fatu slips on a banana peel and gets pinned. Bigelow comes in and unloads on the faces. He throws them out until he gets to Mabel. Mabel gets the crowd into it. Bigelow tries to move Mabel as the crowd does the whoop chant again. Bigelow with some shoulder blocks to no avail. They trade shots. Mabel misses a corner charge. Butch throws stuff on Luna that distracts Bigelow, and he gets splashed by Men on a Mission in the corner. He gets pinned by the team. Team Doink survives. Bigelow and Luna leave, and Doink menaces Bigelow on the screen. Todd Pettengill interviews the Foreign Fanatics. Jim Cornette says they are ready and have a strategy. He says the Steiner brothers are the heart of the team, and a blow to the heart can be devastating. The mind is the Undertaker. If you confuse the mind, you can take him out. Then there's the soul. The soul is Lex Luger. When you've captured a man's soul, you've defeated him once and for all. Vince and Bobby talk about the main event. The All-Americans Lex Luger, the Steiner brothers, Rick and Scott, and the Undertaker with Paul Bearer versus the Foreign Fanatics Yokozuna, Quebecer Jock, Crush, and Ludwig Borga with Jim Cornette, Mr. Fuji, and Johnny Polo. Heels out first, the Undertaker out first for the faces, and the crowd goes wild. Steiner brothers out next to a good ovation. Luger out to a great reaction. Undertaker and Yokozuna face to face. A USA chant goes out. Scott and Jacques start. They circle each other. Jacques asks for a handshake. Scott does an up yours gesture instead and kicks Jacques in the stomach. Back and forth. Scott hits an overhead belly to belly. He gets a 2 count. Rick tagged in. Yoko tagged in. Yoko staring at Rick as the USA chant goes out again. They lock up, and Yoko knocks Rick down with a forearm. Rick with Steiner lines. He finally knocks Yoko out of the ring. Heels get Rick in their corner. Borger tagged in and knocks Rick down in the corner. Borger throws Rick outside, where he lands on a cameraman. Rick goes up top. He gets a count from a top rope shoulder block. Borger comes back with a scoop slam. Rick goes back to the top and comes off, but Borger catches him and power slams Rick. Rick gets pinned. Scott in against Jacques. Jacques with a side headlock. Scott military presses Jacques and throws him on Crush. Crush catches Jacques and Crush tagged in. Crush wants a test of strength. Crush attacks Scott. Scott with a double underhook powerbomb and a Steiner line. He gets a 2 count. Crush comes back with a thrust kick. Randy Savage comes out and is being held back by officials. Crush throws Scott out of the ring. Crush tells Savage to come on. Crush beating Scott down. Crush with a leg lock. He drops an elbow to the leg. Savage tries to get to the ring again. Crush is distracted by Savage. and Scott kicks him to the outside. Crush takes off after Savage and attacks Savage. They fight in the aisle, and Crush is counted out. Scott beat down in the corner by the heels. Jacques with a camel clutch on Scott. He follows it up with a back elbow and a pile driver for a 2 count. Scott with a shot to the stomach. Scott with a press slam. Luger tagged in. He slams Jacques. He drops an elbow from the second rope to pin Jacques. Scott and Borga come in. Borga wants Luger. Scott and Borga circle each other, and Borga attacks Scott. Borga with a shot to knock Scott down. He brutalizes Scott. He gets caught going up top, and Scott hits the superplex. Yoko makes the save. Yoko tagged in but misses an elbow drop. Scott goes for the Frankensteiner, but Yoko holds on to the ropes. Yokozuna drops an elbow to pin Scott. Luger in against Yoko. They slap each other. Yoko beats Luger down. Yoko with a scoop slam. Luger moves on a Yokozuna splash attempt. A clothesline knocks Luger down. Borga tagged in. Borga brutalizes Luger with shots. He headbutts Luger into the corner, and Yoko tagged back in. Yoko with a corner whip, but Luger moves on the charge. Undertaker tagged in. The crowd goes wild. He attacks Undertaker. Undertaker with a flying DDT to Yokozuna. Undertaker attacking Yoko. Yoko with the belly-to-belly suplex. He keeps knocking Undertaker down, but Undertaker keeps rising. My friend Bubba taped the end of the match on a mini cassette recorder, and we listened to it endlessly. Yoko drags Undertaker to the corner, and Bonsai drops Undertaker, but misses a second one when Undertaker moves. Undertaker with the flying chokeslam. It goes outside. Yoko runs Undertaker into the ring steps, but Undertaker keeps coming. They both get counted out. Undertaker keeps attacking Yokozuna. Borga knocks Luger down and gets a 2 count. Borga with a side slam for another 2 count. Borga can't get the pin. Back and forth. Heel manager's up on the apron. Fuji comes in and gives Borga the salt bucket. Borga hits Luger. He gets a 2 count. Luger comes back and gets several 2 counts. Luger hits the forearm to get the pin. He celebrates and Santa comes out as they sign off from Boston. Final thoughts. A fantastic show. Definitely worth a watch, especially for Heenan. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TheJoeyHarris. If you like the show, please leave a review on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, or your preferred podcast app. I would really appreciate it. We can also be found on Spotify and YouTube. Just search for the Cup of Joe Wrestling Show, and don't forget to hit subscribe. Thank you for joining me this week. This is Joey saying so long from the heart of Virginia.
The Cup of Joe Wrestling Show is a production of Baby Kangaroo Media.